I was not gonna put this on my main channel, but I will be putting this video on both the channel where I do rants about politics and issues going on, as well as my main channel, which is my gaming and personal channel that I use to promote and showcase a little bit of what I actually can do, rather than just talk and get my sanity in check a little bit. Over the past 3 weeks, I believe it is now, there's been a sort of scandal within the gaming community. And this is a scandal that has been brewing since, I think, about 2008, when for some reason the media discovered that it was far more effective to start antagonizing gamers. They're an easily targeted, very safe group to attack, harass, and call names. After all, the gaming culture is built by people who were bullied when they went to school in the 70s and the 80s and even the early 90s. This culture has been created by those people who were told, go the fuck away and don't try to think that you are one of us. Now today, the gaming culture is under attack, and have been under attack since about 2008, by the same damn bullies that kept harassing us in the school and the playgrounds and saying, go away, this is our place, get the fuck out. Well, guess what? We gamers did that. We created a fantastic culture all on our own. And now that it's suddenly become popular, all the pretty models and the in-crowd and the jock straps and whatever are now trying to get back in, because suddenly gaming is cool. Now this scandal, so to speak, is very much a fabricated thing, and it's been playing on the usual upset of gamers. And here's the thing, the rest of the world isn't catching up on this. They don't really know what is going on. You can see that clearly evidenced in The Guardian, writing a piece about how gamers are such horrible and bad people because Zoe Quinn, which is at the very center of this particular hot potato, has received flack for fucking around with people that then have given her highly favorable journalistic pieces about games or game that she's supposed to release. There is a ton more of stupid shit going on behind the scenes, like them using their influence to harass and bully and stop people from speaking out about what actually is going on. This hasn't been uncommon. The game press, the game media have for a very long time become this cesspool of incestuous relationships, and I think they've been left alone for far too long. They have been allowed such a free reign that they don't really understand limits and boundaries. The gaming culture has most recently been painted up as this white, male-dominated culture. And in some cases it's very true, and I shall make very clear distinction on what a gamer is. If you're playing poker or solitaire on Facebook, you're not a gamer. You're someone that enjoys playing a game every now and then. You're not a gamer if you bought Call of Duty and have been playing it a few hours every day since the game came out. You're not a gamer because you play Battlefield 4 and have a machine that can do it on the highest settings. You're a gamer when that is your main core hobby. You're a gamer as you would be a gym rat, as someone that enjoys going to the gym and enjoys going out for runs, that enjoys lifting weight. If you're one that do these things, you enjoy lifting weight, you enjoy going out for a run, you're a gym rat. You could probably be called tons of other things, but that's the one quick thing I can use to describe all of the people that enjoys partaking in physical health and exercise. You're a health nut, health freak, whatever people like to call you. And these names aren't particularly positive, but they're not really derogative either. But that is the distinction between people that play games and people who are gamers. I am a gamer. I was there in the beginning when text-based games in matrices and whatnot was used to try and have textually graphical games, ASCII games as they were called. That's when I started playing. Since then I've followed through a fantastic journey where I've helped contribute by partaking in forums, or BBSs as they were called back then, helping, giving ideas, reading up about the latest thing, and we're talking back in an age where getting news around was a really difficult thing, because mainstream media had no fucking clue what was going on about gaming. Neither did so-called journalists. It was just something that people did, and back then it was mainly men, very often bullied and shunned and otherwise ostracized by the popular people at school, at workplaces. The journey that it was taking along has seen some fantastic development. We went from having ASCII games to suddenly having 4-color graphic games, and then we suddenly started getting consoles that could have a few more bits of colors in the games, and even some music started playing in there. And it didn't take long before we had games that weren't really considered AAA titles, but they had philharmonic orchestras playing the music soundtrack to it that really developed the games as they were. Now, if you can't be bothered to go to the Wikipedias and whatnot, there is a game called Game Developer, Game Dev, that you can get on Steam for no money at all. I think I got it for £3.49. It's a fantastic little game about developing games and being a game developer. It raises certain questions such as bringing women in. Are you gonna use the hard-earned money that you have for your gaming company to toss some money that you won't get back in the game to get more women into gaming? It's of course, it's a very obvious thing to do these things for those of us that have a rational and good mindset. It reflects the history, but it also reflects that you get the choice. And in any clear gamer's mind, and I do think I'm speaking for every single gamer out there, as you have listened to my description of what a gamer is. Every single gamer out there is very much for this thing of women in gaming. In fact, it has never ever been a question about not having women in gaming, whether it be game developers, game makers, game promoters, game publishers, gamers themselves. That has never ever been an issue. But for some reason this has been hijacked by Anita Sarkeesian. That she isn't a gamer, she is a PR professional that knows exactly what buttons to push, and she's owned her skill long before she came around and said, oh, gaming is sexist and therefore all men are pigs. Before she started doing that, she used to hang out on places like 4chan, where she used to bait trolls for a living to get a reaction out of them. That is exactly what is happening now, and have been happening for a very long time. You see all these game websites, and you can't really call them journalists, because we haven't had this in forever when it comes to games. Gaming is not about social justice things. Gaming is not about feminists. Gaming is not about equal rights for women, as they say, which is a very silly and stupid thing to begin with. It is equal rights for everyone or for no one. There is no distinction between someone needing more. And in the case that the feminists are shouting for, feminist frequency in this case, are shouting for in the gaming community, does not exist. You can watch Thunderfoot's video about this where he's using clips from The Matrix, and he's using it extremely brilliantly. There is a scene in The Matrix where Morpheus is asking Neo, when they're within the Matrix, do you think my muscles, my strength, my speed has anything to do with my physical body in an environment like this? I know it wasn't the exact quote, but that is sort of what he's saying. He's saying that this is the online environment. Your gender, your physical strength, your ability to think quickly have very little to do with your ability to deliver within a game. This comes back to what makes a gamer. A gamer is someone that can quickly pick up and understand a game mechanic. Quickly understand how it works, use it to his advantage or her advantage, just to be very fair to all the feminist and LGBTQA what the fuck you want to have as your title. For all of you out there, gaming and gamers is not just a single entity of white, mid-30s, overprivileged men that rapes, hurts, tells women that they're useless. That is not what gamers are. I can not find that within the gaming culture. I can find arseholes being arseholes. Just like I can go to my very own family, I can walk up and down the very street I live with and I can within minutes find at least half a dozen. Yes, I do live in London, so I have a very, very large community around me. If you live in Bumville, Idaho in America, where there is 5 people living in your entire village, then you might not find half a dozen arseholes. But I'm guaranteeing you that one of those 5 people will be less than optimal to have when it comes to certain discussions. It's the same with the gaming world, because the gaming world is massive. And yet again, I'm rounding back, I'm coming back to this, what is a gamer? And what makes gaming? What feminist frequency in this case, I know I'm using the word feminist very, very loosely, but this is what feminists are screaming for, what they want to change. It's very much thought police and thought control. What they want to do at Feminist Frequency Headquarters is to take away these popular games. And yes, it is what they're doing. They want to stop games like Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 4, Saints Row. I can't list all the games that they have an issue with. I would say, fine, you think something is wrong with the story narrative, the plotline, whatever you think it is. Okay, tell me why. But no, Feminist Frequency isn't telling why. Feminist Frequency says, change that game, I don't like it. Well, here is the thing. Big games that Feminist Frequency, the Social Justice Warrior League, and what have you not, all these people that are so up in arms about this, the games you like, I think they max out at 250,000 copies at the most. 250 copies during the lifespan, during the sale to date. Now, popular games, which the game developers have spent a lot of time and research figuring out what gamers really like. They've spent a lot of time doing this, therefore we've had massive successes in 2013, which was a year of economic recession. People didn't have a lot of money. Yet for some reason, both Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto 5 both managed to sell in the billions on day one. That's within the first 24 hours of releasing the game. They are by far well ahead of all these other games. Now, I've heard a few gamers out there, and Gaming Anarchist I think it is, that did say it quite well. As a gamer, as someone who's been playing games for a very, very long time, I am very much in favor of the diversity. Give me something new, give me something I haven't seen before. But for the love of God, stop trying to break down what makes a game good and then wanting to remove it. That just leads to what the rationalist on Facebook said, the Sargon of Akkad, Goodfella, I think we have Monday Matt, Internet Aristocrat, and the bunch in there. What they said, this is the game that they want over at Kotaku, Rock Paper Shotgun, and all these junk websites. The beige bouncing ball, and nothing really happens in the game. You move the ball around, but not too quickly, and be very, very careful. Now, obviously, the beige bouncing ball has all issues with itself. Why is it beige, not teal and everything that they point out? I think that's quite hilarious. But I'm not having this rant to say what is really wrong. What I'm having is a quick word with you, and yes, you will see how long this video is. I haven't really planned anything. But when this thing started coming out, there is one lady that has stuck up for it, and she's very much a feminist. She believes very, very much in this bringing equality for everyone, and she's a very, very good fighter for women. And what I think is so hilarious is the backlash she is getting for pointing out the facts, not making wild accusations and statements. I'm gonna get to that very, very shortly. You're gonna love this. But the woman in question here is Christina H. Summers. She is called a factual feminist for a reason. She brings out the facts and she's really pinpointing what is wrong with this third wave feminism and how it's being exaggerated, how they make fake death threats against themselves and whatnot. But she's not really pointing that out. That I must give credit to Thunderfoot that managed to find the screenshot of the death threats levied against Anita Sarkeesian. Now this screenshot is from someone on Twitter that is logged out. The screenshot is grabbed 12 seconds after this message was sent. Now if you're not logged into Twitter, you're getting just a wild stream of Twitter messages. Twitter in 2014, 11th of July, had a statistic average tweet per second of 9,100. Just let that sink in. Every second there is 9,100 tweets on average. Within 12 seconds, we're up at 100,000 tweets that had just flashed you by. But for some reason, this screen capture person managed within 100,000 tweets just get that tiny little one saying, "I will kill Anita Sarkeesian." I'm actually going to look at my browser and see exactly what the tweet was saying, because I think I got it up on the screen somewhere here. I do apologize if I'm not more prepped than this. It is Thunderfoot's video, and I know people are asking that you give links and everything, but it's Thunderfoot's video, Anita Sarkeesian's death threats and Joss Whedon's misogyny. It has a capture title of "Death Threats from Who?" or Who, I'm not sure, but you'll be able to find it on Thunderfoot's channel. It's at 4:19 into the video, and if I do remember, I will try and put the link to this very second. The tweet is from Kevin Dobson. The person has taken the screen cap, is not logged into Twitter. The account, Kevin Dobson, has 10 tweets. The tweet says, @FemFreak, I am going to kill your parents too. I've seen their house. There's something blanked out there, and I think it might be something that should be blanked out. That is the tweet sent to Anita Sarkeesian. And what does she do? She tweets about it and saying, "Oh, I'm out of the house, I've gone away." The very person that has found this is a person that received some very real threats himself. Go onto Thunderfoot's channel and look what he's talking about doc dropping. He did very decent exposés about religion and the craziness of religion. We're talking about the batshit crazy stuff like blowing stuff up and telling people the earth is 6,000 years old when we have fact that it is way older than that. He's been calling people out on that, and for that, a Muslim that called himself Dawah, D-A-W-A-H, sent a video to Thunderfoot saying, "How would you think about this, this and this? That's why I've sent all these documents about who you are to every single Muslim on the campus where you work." That is a real death threat. What Anita Sarkeesian received is at most very, very dubious. But it goes a lot deeper than that. Looking at statistics that you can get directly from Google, places like Alexa, I think it's Alexa Visits or something, where you can see how popular websites are, what influence they have, what time trends they have. When you look at this, the feminist frequency timing to the debacle about Zoe Quinn and her sleeping around with apparently every journalist, or I should say blogger. Now, we can't really find out whether or not this is true. We can find out that they do have relationships, and not even having to do any kind of serious journalism, you can quickly find that the PR agencies behind it have Anita Sarkeesian on board, or any of these 5 supposed boyfriends of the Zoe Quinn, or Zoe Quinn herself has been around. Now, it's not very hard to do this, and this is where it starts to get so very, very embarrassing. BBC Newsnight, The Guardian, even Swedish newspapers, which is a country where I'm from, so I know how to read them and I know how to read them properly, have all spouted out the same: gamers hate women. Not even bothering actually digging into what is going on in the gaming culture, in the gaming world. It's just gamers hate women. Of course, things like this will make the gamers pissed off. It is like, for the past 8 or 9 years, we've had these feminists like Anita Sarkeesian, social justice warrior, coming to our houses and shitting diarrhea in our living room, and then walking away to their own houses and saying to the media, "Oh, look how nice and clean it is here. There's nothing smelling like shit here." Obviously, we gamers get pissed off because we have now our living room being shat all over, stinking like shit. And when we ask the people responsible for this to clean up, we're being told that we're misogynistic, that we hate women, that we have ancient attitudes of sending women back to the kitchen. There's no wonder that journalists aren't picking up on this, because they're not gamers. And gaming is something that has been very, very easily targeted. I'm gonna give you a very, very nice tip of something you can spend a half an hour on YouTube doing. There's a musician called Dee Snider. He's the lead singer of Twisted Sister. Twisted Sisters are famous for, among others, songs like We're Not Gonna Take It. I believe it's during the 70s when this hit. It might be early 80s, I'm not entirely certain about the timeline. But it's very much in the era when rock and roll music was very much targeted by mostly the religious and very, very high conservative then elite of politicians. They tried to attack Mr. Snider and saying that he's a bad person and all these things, but what they failed to realize is that Dee Snider is a very, very brilliant person. He's also been taking very much responsibility within the rock and roll world, keeping certain very obvious things out of his fan circuit, like extremely naked ladies bouncing around for no reason at all, shirts that have had bad words that he considers bad words that are not really necessary. It is a form of censorship, but it is a positive thing. He hasn't forbidden them, but he has made sure that the band logo and band name is not printed next to it. Now that is just being responsible. Think of it as being a parent and trying to not use swear word in front of your kids. It's a form of censorship, but it is a positive thing in terms of developing some kids' vocabulary. It's the very same thing here. What these politicians that try to attack Dee Snider's band fail to realize is that when you are up against someone that is deep within a culture that they have created themselves, that have been part of, that have been a contributor to, they know the culture inside and out. What they tried to do, these politicians, they tried to attack these Snyders for the very popular song We're Not Gonna Take It. The Conservatives found the song to be somehow antagonistic and somehow rude. So they tried to claim that We're Not Gonna Take It is full of swear words, bad language, and all these things, but there is no such words in that song. Not even trying to play it backwards can you find bad words or bad language within the song. Dee Snider put this forward at a Senate committee hearing, and that's the thing you can find. It is on YouTube. Google Dee Snider defense and you should find it. And it's half an hour long. I think it's just 5 minutes you really need when he's really slamming it down to them and telling them, look, you're personally attacking me. And then he drops bombs like he's a very devout Christian. That he has values very, very much similar to them, and he's actually schooling them on how they should be good Christians, instead of them telling him how he should live his life. It's the same with gaming culture. Now that we've failed, I say very loosely, and we failed to make the hard rock, the rock and roll world into the monster and beast it was supposed to be. Let's look a little bit earlier in history. Before we had the rock and roll era, we had the comic books that were supposed to be bad for you. And guess who was the big targets back then? People or comic book characters like Superman. Baseless, idiotic, and very much not understanding what the stories are all about. And this is what I'm saying to you guys now. I'm gonna try and round my thoughts off here. Feminist Frequency, Zoe Quinn, Kotaku, Rock Paper Shotgun, whatever the names are just out there for two principles. They want to make money, and they know how to get people upset because that gives money. So what I'm saying to you is stop visiting these websites. If Anita Sarkeesian comes out with a video, don't click the link. She gets a view. Don't click on the comment section of these supposed gaming websites. If you have a question about gaming or something, go to places where you can find random persons doing it for free, I would say. Be happy to give some people their due diligence when they've done something. Start using YouTube and go to gaming channels where people are reviewing games and doing let's play. And don't use just one source. Ask few of them. Total Biscuit has unfortunately turned off his comment section. Well, it's not turned off, but he's not responding to comments made on his videos anymore. For some reason he wants to have the discussion elsewhere. And I can understand him because the comment sections on YouTube is appalling at the moment. It's not because people are bad language or anything, it's just such a nightmare to try and manage it. I'm looking at the Thunderfoot video where I got the screen cap from about the person managing to screenshot the threat against Anita Sarkeesian. He has 2,336 comments as of this moment for a video that was uploaded yesterday. There's no way he can go through all of them. There are better places to keep the discussion, but keep to the big open social spheres where these idiots are not in control. Go to Twitter, go to YouTube. Be on Facebook and post questions. Maybe your friends know the answer. Maybe your friends have an inkling about what games are good or not, or they have a new idea. I would say use the Steam forums as well, but as Total Biscuit pointed out, we do have a bit of shit developers going on around there as well when we had the Gary's mod. And the developer behind that tried to DMCA Total Biscuit for giving the game a bad, very well-deserved bad review. Now stop feeding into this. If someone is trying to saying something that making you upset, walk away. Leave it alone. Because all they're trying to do is get your click, your click, even though you are not giving anyone money, is giving them money, is giving them a boost. For every 1,000 views you get on a YouTube video, you get a few dollars. Depending on who you're partnered with, you can get as much as $9–10 for every 1,000 views. Us normal, average, small-sized people that don't garner more than a couple of hundred views per video, we get a couple of cents. We still get money from all your clicks. So use your clicks wisely, my fellow gamers. And for you non-gamers that know that you're just playing it for casual fun, don't bite into this. Don't go to the comment section and add to the flame or try to douse it, because you're up against a team that is very, very highly trained on doing this. They're ready with answers already to get you flamed, get you going, get you upset. You come back, you visit, you read more, you get more clicks, you get more visits to the website, they get more money at the end of the day. It's down to this whole debacle about the gaming industry and the shit that is going on. Don't buy into it. Stop visiting these websites that have a lot of the misogyny words. In fact, if you see a gaming website using the word misogyny, then leave. Leave instantly, because misogyny has nothing to do with the gaming or gamers culture. There is no misogyny going on. There are no people hating all women. It is a buzzword used by these people to get people angry. And if you're being called a misogynist by someone, it has nothing to do with you being a woman hater, but it has everything about getting a reaction out of you, for you have just been insulted and called a person who hates women because they are a woman, because they're women. That's what misogyny means. I'm struggling to find any gamers that hate a gender. I do find, however, a lot of sexist people on the other side of the fence, people that are driving this bullshit into the gaming community. But as I've just spent the last few minutes trying to explain, don't click, leave them alone, they will die out on their own. As long as it's profitable for them to keep shitting in our gaming living rooms and then claim sexism when we ask them to clean up their own mess, as long as we keep rising to that occasion, they will make money. It will be profitable for them to keep doing this bullshit, to keep destroying our culture. Now I know we will have to weather this shit out for a long time to come, and I'm not just talking about the Gamergate shit here. I'm talking about gaming as a culture being under attack. Because you know what? We are the kids on the block. We are the youngest fad there is. And we are also the most popular and most powerful one there has ever been. We're larger than the comic book culture. We're larger than the rock and roll culture. We're quite lucky by being so large that we really, really are. Let's use that to our advantage. Let's keep it on our side. Let's start taking control over what the gaming culture really is. Having someone screaming that we're sexist and then it lands on deaf ears is just a positive thing for us. Don't rise to the obvious intentional insults, because that's all they are. I doubt I will get many views on this video, but I am very, very certain that every single one of you listening through this video, that not single one of you is a sexist, a misogynist, a misandrist, any of these isms or ists. You may have viewpoints that I don't agree with. You may have ideologies I don't agree with. You may be a feminist and I on the default setting don't agree with feminists. That's a whole other discussion. But I do agree with one thing, that you should have the ability to say what's on your mind without having to receive any kind of death threats or rape threats. But I'm on the other hand saying, if you don't bring the facts, if you are just there to try and stir up shit, if you're peddling stuff that we've known for decades to be bullshit, and I'm looking at you feminists about the wage gap myth. I'm looking at you when it comes to this. You are being fed an exaggerated line of bullshit. Now I'm gonna round off because I did a little bit of number crunching. Something that is very, very popular in the feminist circles, the third wave feminism, is to do the comparison of the imagine a bowl of M&Ms. 10% of the M&Ms in the bowl are poisoned. That is what they're using to compare men as being rapists, as to why women should fear going out at night, living their lives, because 10% of the men are rapists and are mean and bad. Let me put it very, very clearly here. I'm not saying dress moderately. I'm not saying it's anyone's fault for being raped. I am saying that it is on you, the individual, to take responsibility for your life. Feminists are not so interested in this happening. They are very happy to think for you and to tell you what you should wear, do, and how you should act and be. That is what they're doing. I am not saying any of these things. I'm saying take responsibility and be careful. It's not just you that suffers if you're being attacked. It's your family, your friends, your sons, daughters, cousins, everyone that loves you in your life are being affected for you being reckless with your life. But let's get back to this bowl with the 10% M&Ms being poisoned. Now I had to do a little bit of research here, and I suggest that you make notes of these numbers because I got them from all over the place, mainly just going to Google and Google certain keywords in. I will say what words I used and then you can find and see if you cannot draw your own conclusion from this. I will also see if my maths is still as accurate as it was when I went to school. I slept through most of it, but the numbers here clearly do not match up. So we're talking about 10% of the male population being rapists. Now I had to establish a few certain numbers of what that could possibly mean. So first I had to find out what you could expect the male population to be. The latest number I could find was from 2013, where 3.523 billion people on this planet are men. Born men. This does not take into account for any transgender issues or someone wanting to be another. And just to be perfectly clear, there are only two genders on this planet when it comes to the humans. There is nothing else but two genders. You're male or female. That is your biological description. Your sexual identity is where it comes into the LGBT, whatever you have it. This has nothing to do with you being male or female. Get that distinction very, very clearly. The 57 things that you have on Facebook is not the same as the male or female. It's your sexual identity, and that is not your gender. Let's continue. 10% of 3.5 billion, 230 million. It is 352,300,000. Now, if we check this, how long a man lives. The average life expectancy globally is what I googled for. The average male lifespan on this planet is 68.5 years. So if these 10% of men are conducting one rape during their entire lifetime, that makes them a rapist. So 10%. To make these 350 million rapists, that means they need to rape just once. In the lifespan of 68.5 years, you have 25,000 days. It's 25,019.62 days to be very accurate, accounting for leap years and whatnot. This means that every single day on this planet we would have had to have 14,081 rapes. Now this sounds quite accurate. It sounds like it's a plausible number, but when we add it up, it doesn't add up. Rapes in any 24-hour period. That's the minimum amount of rapes we had to have. Adding this up means that every single year from these bad M&Ms we would get 5,143,066 rapes. Now let's look at the real numbers and add it up. The following thing took a little bit of research, so I went to Wikipedia to get rape statistics from each and every country on this planet to get an average as per capita how many rapes are actually occurring. There is one flaw in this. This is only the crimes that are reported, not convicted, so just the report, which means that even the fake rape accusations are in there. I managed to find data for 122 countries, so it's not all the countries on the planet, but it's them that have the value coming out. I also faced another challenge when doing this research. I had high numbers and I had low numbers, and in some cases you had a very odd number. You had a country for the past 5 years that had statistics of 5.1 out of 100,000 reporting rape, which is how the statistics have been presented. It's a number out of 100,000 people of the population, how many are a rape case. And countries had that. 5.1 that year, 5.1 the next year, 5.4 another year, 4.9 another year, and suddenly 18.9. So what I did, just to take into account everyone that isn't reporting. Mind you, we're already having a bad pool of data here because we have fake rape accusations in these reported crimes. But I gave the highest number, the time when it is at the worst in every single country. That's the number I used to get an average. The number I got from these 122 countries, the average annual rape reported globally per 100,000 following this statistics of the highest possible reported number gives 17.1681 rapes reported per 100,000 people living on this planet. The next objective was, because rape is targeted at both men and women, both men and women can be victims of rape. So I had to take the entire population of Earth. The number I found when typing it into Google, Earth population, was 7,046,000,000. Obviously that's a rounded off number, but we need to take out a few digits because we're talking about 17.1681 cases per every 100,000. So after taking a few digits out, we're left with 70,460. 70,460 times 17.1681 gives us globally 1,209,665 rounded up rapes per year on this planet. I have a feeling the number is a little bit low, but it could possibly be quite true, because rape is not occurring on the levels that these feminists want us to believe. They want us to believe that 1 in every 5 women in the lifespan will get raped. That is not true. If you don't believe me, check all the reports C.H. Summers has conducted. Christina H. Summers, the factual feminist. But let's just compare these numbers. The M&M toxic 10% toxic things. So 5,143,066. Less than 1.5 million is what we can prove when it is at the worst. So here you go. This is the exaggeration they're conducting. This is the exaggeration these feminists, these shitsters, I should say. And I do apologize to the feminists like C.H. Summers out there that are working a very, very good job of trying to keep the facts in and the bullshit out. I admire these people, these feminists that do really do this good of a fight, making sure that all the hard work that we've done to make sure that we get rid of the inequalities that we had there for a very, very long time. I don't agree with the Anita Sarkeesian claim that men are strong and women are weak, and then saying that there is no proof for this. There is a lot of evidence for this. There's a lot of evidence that men get their brain sauteed and marinated in testosterone, which leads their brain to search for certain things, get them to like certain different things, as opposed to a brain that is being cooked, stewed and marinated in estrogen. We are different. And yes, we are different because of our gender in terms of biology. It's a lot more than just a piece of skin or 2 lumps of fat with nipples on it that makes our gender. Our very brain gives us very, very different advantages and disadvantages. That's also a topic for a very, very different discussion, and I'm not gonna do it on my main channel. I'm just trying to keep very clear about this particular issue about the gaming world and how it is. As a gamer, I am not embarrassed at all for being a white, mid-30s male. In fact, I am very, if not extremely proud of having been a part of, helped contribute to, build and even be one of the best gamers there have been during certain times, certain stages. I'm not gonna list why I'm saying that I belong to one of the best gamers that were out there. Those people I worked and played with at that time, they knew full well who I am. They're quite likely listening to this, and I'm saying hello to you again. It's nice meeting you. It was fantastic playing with you guys. Obviously, I am not as much of a gamer today as I was back then. But I do still possess these core qualities that still makes me a gamer. I don't care who you are on the other side of the screen. I don't care if you happen to be a police officer that unfortunately belongs to the bad crowd of maybe hitting a little bit too hard when you're arresting some punk because, you know what, half an hour earlier that evening you were almost stabbed by another punk. So this innocent person that you're arresting is getting a little bit of the brunt end of all the shit you received. I don't care if you're that person. I don't care if you're a raging, idiotic feminist like Anita Sarkeesian. I am saying this, I wouldn't care if Anita Sarkeesian was sitting and gaming in the same game as me, as I. I would not care about that. What I would care about is her ability to deliver, especially if she's on my team. I care about what you can do in the game. I don't care about what your social issues are. I don't really care about your social life unless we reach the level where we're becoming friends, where we're becoming buddies. Buddies of war, buddies of strategy, buddies of puzzle, buddies of whatnot that is suitable for the gaming world. That's what I care about. That is what is part of being a gamer. Being a gamer is not dragging up these social issues that have no relevance in a virtual fantasy world. Because, as I pointed out, we had the backlash about the comics. We had the backlash about rock and roll. We had the backlash about music videos. We had the backlash about overly violent TV shows, films, too realistic, too gory. None of these have stuck. Not a single one. And you know what? Today, do you see these feminist frequency, and I'm talking about all of them. I'm using feminist frequency, and then you can lump whoever you want in there that is raging against gaming and saying sexism, misogyny, hatred, degrading, whatever. Do you see any of these people attacking Shakespeare? Literature? I know there was a little bit of backlash towards 50 Shades of Grey, yet it was one of the most popular books bought by women. It's kind of the self-damaging thing you even have with Twilight, that sparkly vampire thingy, with obvious undertones of it's just sickening. And here are feminists trying to say, oh, women are always innocent and da da da. But your consuming pattern tells us a whole different story that I can't even draw a conclusion from it. But if I would venture at a guess, is 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight tells us very much that the bad boy attitude is what women want. What gives you the greatest chance of getting a woman. If that is your goal, to get a woman, to find someone to spend your life with, or even just a weekend or the night, then all the patterns suggest that the bad boy is what they want. And as long as women want that, that is exactly what we will have. It has nothing to do with any given culture. And I do know why, and my conclusion to that is that it doesn't have anything to do with the gaming culture. It has nothing to do with the Arab culture, or the African culture, or the Australian culture, or the Chinese culture. Because these patterns are all over the globe. They are culture borderless. They don't have a very distinct way of sticking to one culture. So trying to pin it on the gaming culture is probably the most stupid thing you can ever do. But I'm gonna round it off now. It's been far too long me talking about this. This is all I'm going to say at this. I will obviously respond if I get good questions on my Twitter feed. You can find me at Viperbane. I will respond if you give good comments, and I do mean good comments as in keep your decency level. You can't rape threat me as a man, and I'm gonna round off with this thought, something that's been starting to catch on at this moment. Women, for those of you that have managed to stick around until now, you may get the occasional rape threat from a douchebag. How often have it become a reality? And I'm talking to you, and I want you to answer that honestly. Every one of us that are sticking our jaw out get the abuse coming back. But you know what? You ladies do have it fairly simple when it comes to this about bullying and threatening people online. You ladies only get verbal threats of a very nasty nature that I don't even condone. I despise people doing this. But for boys, for us men, these trolls, these idiots, have now started sending around armed SWAT teams, claiming that there are bombs in our houses, that we're talking about murdering and killing people. To which the law enforcement have to send in the big guns. We're not talking about the police coming around and knocking on your door and saying, well, we had this little report, could you please tell us what is going on? We're talking about people that kick your door down, comes with drawn guns into your room and pushing you down on the floor. I suggest you check Daniel Salzbach's Mr. Repsion's video out on this, because he's saying it very eloquently. He's living in America, he's one of those people that have firearms within his house. And I agree with him. If my front door was kicked in and I had a firearm, my first reaction would be to grab the firearm, then go look. Not go look because my door has just been breached, just been kicked in. As a law-abiding citizen, I would not expect to have a SWAT team storming in. But if I have a gun in my hand and the SWAT team sees me, they will shoot first and ask questions later. This is the bullshit these idiots are putting on us men. It's not a rape, it's actually armed men trained to kill at the slightest little mistake that you do when they're entering your premises. Let that sink in for a while. I'm not saying rape threats should be ignored or that they are not bad. They are bad. But they're not sending several armed men trained to kill into your house on a false hunt for something that you haven't done. Let that sink in. This is the state of the bad apples within our entire community. And it's very easy to target gamers because you know what, as I said in the beginning, it is created by us that was bullied when we went to school, that were told to go away. And I'm telling you, the jockstraps, the beautiful it people that once were something, you are very welcome to join this culture. But leave your issues at the door. Let's get on with taking down the latest big challenge in World of Warcraft. Let's team up to kick some random stranger's butt in Call of Duty, Dota, Battlefield. Let's do that, because that is what gaming and gamers are all about. All the other issues, we can get back to them when we log off. But there is a reason we play the game so much, it's because we're so tired of dealing with your bullshit that we haven't created, that we haven't started, that we haven't done, and that doesn't even affect us. We're happy to lend you support when you can bring the facts to the table, but as long as you keep spewing bullshit like over-exaggerated death threats, rape cases, wage gaps, all these myths, get the facts on your side, get down to the core of the story, and in cases like this, the Anita Sarkeesian, where we can prove how much of a bullshit she is spewing, but the Zoe Quinn thing, the only thing that is really dodgy is that we have Anita Sarkeesian connection straight to her. It's not even a hard thing to find that connection. And the timing of Anita Sarkeesian's very sudden release of a video game topic that is covering just what the gaming community is so up in arms for. I say it again and I say it for the last time. Please stop shitting in my living room and claim that the stink is my fault. Please stop pissing on me and telling me it's rain. This is the last I will say about this. And from now on, I will stop visiting websites that claim to be for gamers that use words like misogyny, feminists, because this has nothing to do with us gamers. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Jim. I'm used to be called Viperdane Online. If you see me in game, feel free to open PvP, feel free to try and kill me, feel free to do whatever is intended within the game. Do drop a line if you like. Until next time guys, thank you so much for listening to me ranting about this.